So if you've made the decision to sell your house, we have 4 steps for you to kind of go through the process. Now, this is a little bit longer of a video, so if you're not really deciding to sell your house, you're probably going to want to skip this one. But if you are, the first thing I want to say is congratulations. We are always happy whether we're helping you sell your house or we're going to help the buyer buy your house, that there's more inventory. So where do you start? First of all, I want you to come into your house and look at the trim. I want you to look at the walls, because a lot of times those get so smudged up, and you can do some scrubbing and get those marks off and make it shine. You might have to do a little painting if it's really bad, but that can make a huge difference. And I want you to concentrate on a couple of areas: the kitchen, the living room, and the bathrooms, because that is the heart of where we spend all of our times. Just as an example, if you look at where your trash can is, a lot of times when you're throwing food in there, guess what's happening? It's splashing up somewhere, and we just don't notice it. So take a look there, because to a buyer, I can promise you they'll notice it. Next, I want you to consider your yard. I want you to kind of take a step out there. Now, I'm not talking about hiring people and doing huge landscape, but just some fresh flowers, maybe a little bit of mulch, cleaning off the bird stuff, that kind of thing can make a huge difference as people are driving by. Because a lot of times when they see your house online, the next thing they do is they hop in that car and they drive by because they want to check out the outside and the neighborhood. So just give your house and yard a little bit of a refreshing. Now, I want to caution you, because I don't want you putting in a bunch of money doing some kind of remodel without talking to us, because a lot of times things you think you have to do, you just don't have to do. So if you're thinking you need to do these projects before you list your house for sale, I want you to get some advice from us, because like I said, 90% of the time, you're not gonna have to do those. So that's step 1, is kind of taking a look at the inside, taking a look at the outside, and putting a little bit of elbow grease into giving it a good cleaning, a good little look over that yard. And then step number 2 is coming up next. So for step number 2, it's all about advertising it. Listen, you've worked your tail off getting it ready. You've cleaned, you've decluttered, you've got fresh pine straw out there. Now is the hard work of advertising it. And listen, I need you to promise me something. If you list your house with someone and they show up and they take the photos with their cell phones, just stop. Listen, you're paying for a professional. You want professional photos, because every single person starts out seeing your house online. Okay, so promise me that. Don't let somebody shortchange your house by being cheap, and I'm going to say lazy, to do it the professional way. Get those professional photos, because that is what gets all the eyeballs on your house. And make sure that who you're working with has a plan to advertise it, not just stick the sign in the yard. If you want to know what our advertising plan is, reach out to me. I am happy to talk you through that. You ready for step 3? Okay, so step 3 is what happens when the buyer is coming to your house. Listen, there's some easy things you can do to make it better for the buyer, because we want the buyer to fall in love with your house, because when they fall in love, they make even better offers. So a couple things you can do. You want to take the garbage out, because sometimes what we cook the night before is not what the buyer's going to want to smell the next day for the showings. You also want to make sure that you have all your light bulbs in there. It's better if they all match, but we want light bulbs so that when they flip the light, it's bright, it's cheerful. If you have heavy blinds or curtains, open them up. Let that natural sunlight come in, because I promise you, every house looks better with light versus dingy. Another thing I want you to think about is when they open those closets, they don't have to be perfect, but you need them to look large, because everybody looking for a house, this is what they always say: I need more storage. So when they open your closets or your garage and it's just Like I've opened closet doors up and like came face to face with like the stuff, and I couldn't even like stick my head in. The stuff was just there. So open those closets up. A lot of times I will encourage you to get rid of half the stuff in your closet so that it looks spacious, because you can have a huge closet that goes this way and then it turns around this way. But if they can't see that, all they're going to feel is that it's very, very small. So work on that. Pantries too. Same thing for your pantry. All right, and then the next step is, what do we do when it comes time for offers? Listen, negotiations aren't easy. The buyers want certain things and you want certain things. They want a certain closing date. You want a certain closing date. You have to work together, and you want to look at this as a partnership. There's parts of it that are really important to you, and there's parts of it that are really important to them. So if we can come together and figure out, okay, we need this closing date, will that work for you? Like, it just makes the whole process smoother. So when you're reviewing those offers, remember, good negotiations is a little bit of give and take on the things that don't matter to you. Now, the things that matter, we're going to negotiate for you. So that's just a couple of tips to overview of the process, and then after that, it's all about packing and moving. That's the fun part, sort of.